Welcome to another episode of Secrets Recapped. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more content. In the year 1930, a man named Wilfred James checked into a small hotel in Omaha. In his room, he started to write a confession about a crime he committed back in 1922. Flashback to 8 years prior, Wilfred, also known as Wilf, lived with his wife Arlette, and their 14-year-old son, Henry. Arlette had 100 acres of land in Hemingford, Nebraska under her name. In Wilf's confession, he blamed that piece of land as the reason why he committed the crime. Wilf added that back in 1922, a son and land is a man's pride. Wilf and his family lived on a farm. Everything was going well in his life, except for this particular issue with his wife. Arlette never wanted to live a farm life. Arlette wanted to sell her 100 acres of land, move to Omaha, and open a boutique. She and Wilf didn't have the same vision, and Wilf will do anything to stop her from selling her land. Wilf was distressed with Arlette's plan. He even offered to buy the land from Arlette, but he didn't have the money. So Arlette offered to divorce him, to sell their land and split the money. Wilf told her to give him some time to think it through. This strained their relationship, and Wilf gradually developed some hate for Arlette. He contemplated letting the law handle it, but he harbored a grudge and didn't want to go easy on his wife. One day, Wilf told Arlette that he won't let her sell the land without a struggle. Later that day, Wilf found out that his son Henry and his girlfriend Shannon are hanging out in the basement. Wilf suddenly got an idea. It was known that Arlette wasn't fond of Henry's relationship with their neighbor's daughter, Shannon, so he'll use this as an advantage to strain the relationship between the mother and son. Wilf antagonized Arlette with their son, Henry. He kept telling Henry that she's a villain and that she is trying to split up Shannon and him. One day, Wilf told Henry that he planned to murder his wife, and persuaded him to help him do that. Moreover, Wilf's gradual, ongoing brainwashing of Henry resulted in the relationship between the mother and son getting strained. Later that night while they were eating dinner, Arlette made some remarks about Shannon and this irritated Henry. He lashed out at Arlette, saying that she should leave so that they could be a family again. Arlette slapped his son, and declared that she'll take him to Omaha. Sometime later, Wilf finally persuaded his son to help him murder his mother. A few days passed and Wilf lied to Arlette, saying that he's ready to go with her to Omaha. This made Arlette happy, and she kissed him. Then, Wilf made her drunk, and while she was drunk she made some inappropriate remarks about Shannon. This agitated Henry, and he told his mother not to speak about her in a degrading way. Arlette passed out from drinking too much, and the father and son followed through with their plan. Wilf brought Arlette to her bed, but Henry was very reluctant to kill his mother. He asked his dad if there was another way, but Wilf convinced him that this was the only way for him to be with Shannon. Henry was not happy about this but still followed his father's instructions. Henry choked his mother with a sack while Wilf repeatedly stabbed her with a butcher's knife. Arlette's blood was splattered everywhere. Then, the two wrapped Arlette's body, and dragged it outside. However, Henry suddenly passed out, so Wilf continued doing the job alone. He threw his wife's body into a dried-up well. After disposing of her body, he cleaned their crime scene. The morning after, Wilf threw away the bloodied mattress and some of Arlette's belongings to make it seem that she abandoned them and went to Omaha alone. Some time later, Wilf opened the cover of the well and saw that his wife's corpse was infested with rats. One could be seen coming out from her mouth. This sight grossed him out and he vomited. He took the luggage that he had packed, and threw it onto the rat to separate it from the body, but it didn't work. 8 years later, Wilf wrote that his greatest crime was not only killing his wife, but also making his son kill his mother. This all happened in 1922. To conceal their crime, Wilf told people that she was unhappy with him, so she left for Omaha. People believed him. However, there was one person who didn't. The Farmington Company was aware that Arlette wanted to sell her land, so they sent one of their lawyers for inspection. When the lawyer visited them, Wilf told the same story, and the lawyer left. Wilf was aware that the lawyer was not easy to fool, so he devised a plan so that the lawyer would never find Arlette's corpse. The day after the lawyer's visit, Wilf threw one of his cows into the well, so that he could use this as an excuse to bury it and fill it with some dirt. He then asked for Henry's help in filling the mice-infested well with soil. While they were resting, the sheriff arrived at their property because the lawyer sent him to inspect Wilf's house. When he was about to leave, Wilf suggested that he also look at the well, but the sheriff just dismissed him since he didn't find any proof of crime. Also, in that summer of 1922, crops grew well, and Wilf thought that Satan rewarded him for his evil deeds. Time passed and Arlette's death was taking a toll on Henry. He became brooding and distant. Shannon noticed his behavioral changes, and was worried. Wilf assured her that it was not the reason. One night, Wilf's cow started whimpering and made a lot of noise. He went to check it out, and found that the cow was infested with rats. He then noticed that the rat was originating from a pipe that leads down the well. The area was so disgusting it made Wilf vomit. He then shoved a cloth to the pipe to block the mice. After that, he went back to his house and saw Arlette's silhouette, but it turned out to be Henry. The morning after, Wilf cemented the pipe so that the rats couldn't escape. Sometime later, Henry informed him that his girlfriend Shannon was pregnant and wanted to marry her to save her from shame. Unfortunately, Wilf refused because he was too young. Just as they were talking, Shannon's father arrived and told them that he'll send Shannon to a Catholic home in Omaha until she gives birth, and put the baby up for adoption. He added that Shannon's living expenses would cost approximately $300. Shannon's father knew that Wilf is financially challenged, and would not be able to pay for it, so he only asked him to pay for at least $75. Wilf agreed, but Henry did not. Henry told him that they could both run away, but Wilf shut down his idea. This angered Henry. He lashed out and told him that he can't tell him what to do, and he's the one to blame for his mother's death. The next day, Wilf searched Arlette's belongings for some money. To his luck, he found $40. He only needed $35 more to pay for Shannon's living expenses in Omaha. He drove his truck to the bank and took out a $35 loan. When he got out of the bank, his truck was missing and only a note was left in its place. It turned out that Henry took his truck to run away with Shannon. Henry also wrote in his note that he shouldn't look for them or he'll come clean about what they did to his mother. Wilf went home and read a book, but Arlette's death kept haunting him. Suddenly, blood dropped on his book. He looked up and noticed that it came from the ceiling. It's just water leaking. The next day, the sheriff informed Wilf that there was a robbery in the town, and the culprit matched Henry's features. Wilf refused to believe that his son could do such a thing. The leaking ceiling bothered Wilf so much that he decided to take out a mortgage of $750 to be able to repair his house. When he returned from the bank, he tried to place the money in his cupboard, but a rat bit his hand severely. He quickly threw the rat on the floor and stomped on it. The following day, it was snowing heavily and his wound was getting worse. He went to his truck but couldn't drive due to his injured hand. He went back to his house and the door started banging. He went to check it out, and saw Arlette outside. He was petrified. He ran back to his house, but Arlette's ghost kept following him. He ran to the basement but fell. There, he saw Arlette standing in front of him, with rats coming out from her body. Returning to the present time, Wilf wrote that Arlette whispered secrets to him. Arlette whispered to him that Henry became a robber, and sneaked Shannon out from the Catholic home. The young couple became a notorious criminal duo, and gained the title Sweetheart Bandits. They go around town, killing and robbing innocent people. After hearing what has become of his beloved son, Wilf begged Arlette to just kill him. However, Arlette wanted him to suffer. Arlette's ghost added that Shannon and her unborn child died of a gunshot while escaping. Henry was devastated that he couldn't save both his beloved and child. Arlette finished her story by saying that their son Henry killed himself beside Shannon's corpse. Arlette blamed Wilf for why their lives turned out this way. Wilf was devastated to learn about the death of his son whom he loved so much. A few days passed, and the snowstorm subsided, so Wilf was able to drive to the doctor to get his wound checked. However, the infection was so severe by that time, that his hand needed to be amputated. After the surgery, Wilf was once again devastated. Then the sheriff arrived to inform them that a dead woman's body was found in a ditch, and they think that it was Arlette. Wilf went along with it. After a few days, a train brought back Henry's corpse, and Wilf was surrounded with reporters asking him about his son's death. When Wilf went to check his son's body, he was surprised that rats had eaten his face. Wilf kissed his son's forehead one last time and ordered the best coffin. During the winter, he couldn't work on the farm. Slowly, Wilf was losing his sanity. He found it hard to live when he had nothing to live for. He tried to sell the land to Shannon's father, but he told him to never show his face again. Wilf sold his property for a very low price to a livestock company. After that, he moved to Omaha and got a hauling job. It was ironic that he ended up moving to Omaha, which he hated so much that he had killed his wife. By the time Wilf finished writing his confession, his hotel room had become filled with rats. Rats had been tormenting him since his wife's death. In front of him was the apparition of his wife, Arlette. Their son Henry was standing beside her with a butcher's knife in his hand.